Mountain ranges appear across every continent, forming long belts, clustered highland regions, and extended corridors that span thousands of kilometers. Across the planet, these systems create recognizable global patterns in how elevated terrain is distributed from one region to another. When viewed together, mountain ranges form a vast geographic network that connects continents through shared spatial arrangements. Mountain ranges in North America form several extensive belts, distributed across the western and eastern portions of the continent. Large mountain systems extend from the northern regions of Alaska and the Canadian Arctic through western Canada and into the western United States and Mexico. These western belts include long chains, aligned generally from north to south across the continent's Pacific-facing side. The Western Cordilleran region contains multiple, continuous and adjacent ranges distributed across Alaska, British Columbia, Yukon, the western United States, and northern Mexico. Prominent groupings include the Alaska Range, the Coast Mountains, the Cascade Range, the Sierra Nevada, and the Rocky Mountains. These ranges occupy large sections of western North America and extend across multiple national boundaries. The Rocky Mountains form one of the longest continuous mountain systems in North America, extending from northern British Columbia and Alberta through the United States and into northern New Mexico. Parallel and nearby ranges appear throughout the Western Cordillera, creating broad zones of elevated terrain distributed along the continental margin. Additional mountain systems appear along the Pacific coastal region of Canada and the United States. The Coast Mountains extend along the coastal areas of British Columbia and southeastern Alaska. The Cascade Range continues southward through Washington and Oregon into northern California. The Sierra Nevada occupies eastern California and western Nevada. Mountain ranges are also present in the eastern portion of North America. The Appalachian Mountains extend from the Canadian province of Newfoundland and Labrador through the eastern United States and into Alabama. These ranges form a long belt positioned along the eastern side of the continent. Smaller mountain systems occur in Mexico and Central America, where several ranges continue the broader continental distribution of elevated terrain. Across North America, mountain ranges appear in large regional groupings that occupy both western and eastern continental zones. Mountain ranges in South America are concentrated primarily along the western side of the continent. The most extensive mountain system is the Andes Mountains, which forms a continuous belt extending along the Pacific-facing margin from northern Colombia to the southern regions of Chile and Argentina. This mountain chain spans a large portion of the continent's length and passes through several national territories. The Andes occupy western areas of Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Chile, and Argentina. Northern segments appear in Colombia and Venezuela, where several parallel ranges extend across the northern part of the continent. Additional Andean ranges continue southward through Ecuador and Peru, where the mountain belt remains broadly aligned along the western continental margin. Central portions of the Andes extend through Peru and Bolivia and continue into northern Chile and northwestern Argentina. Mountain ranges in this region form large elevated zones distributed across both sides of the international boundaries that intersect the central Andes. Multiple highland regions are located throughout this portion of the continent. Southern sections of the Andes extend through Chile and Argentina toward the southern tip of South America. In these regions, the mountain ranges follow the western side of the continent and approach the southern archipelagos near Tierra del Fuego. The mountain system continues as a series of connected ranges distributed along the continental edge. Outside the Andes, smaller mountain systems occur in other parts of South America. The Guiana Highlands appear in the northern portion of the continent, across Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, and northern Brazil. Additional elevated regions are present in southeastern Brazil, including the Brazilian Highlands, where several mountain ranges occupy parts of eastern and southeastern South America. Across the continent, mountain ranges form large regional groupings, positioned mainly along the western continental margin and in several interior highland regions. Mountain ranges in Europe appear in several regional groupings distributed across the southern, central, and eastern portions of the continent. Large mountain systems form arcs and belts that extend across multiple national territories. Many of these ranges occupy areas surrounding the Mediterranean basin and the interior zones of southern Europe. The most extensive mountain system in Europe is the Alps. This range extends across parts of France, Switzerland, Italy, Germany, Austria, and Slovenia. The Alps form a broad arc across Central Europe and represent one of the most prominent mountain groupings on the continent. Additional mountain systems appear along the southern edge of Europe. The Pyrenees extend between Spain and France, forming a mountain belt that separates the Iberian Peninsula from the rest of the continent. Farther east, the Apennine Mountains extend along the length of the Italian peninsula from north to south. In southeastern Europe, the Dinaric Alps extend along the eastern Adriatic region across several Balkan countries. Nearby mountain systems include the Balkan Mountains and the Pindus Mountains, which occupy parts of southeastern Europe and the Greek peninsula. Mountain ranges also appear across Eastern Europe. The Carpathian Mountains form a large arc extending through Slovakia, Poland, Ukraine, and Romania. These mountains occupy a wide region surrounding the interior basins of Eastern Europe. In the northern portion of the continent, the Scandinavian mountains extend along the Scandinavian peninsula through Norway and Sweden. Across Europe, mountain ranges form several regional clusters distributed across southern coastal zones, central continental regions, and northern peninsula areas. Mountain ranges in Asia occupy extensive regions across the central, southern, and eastern parts of the continent. Large mountain systems extend across multiple countries and form some of the most prominent highland belts on Earth. Many of these ranges appear in Central and Southern Asia, where several major mountain chains intersect or run parallel across wide continental areas. The largest mountain system in Asia is the Himalayas, which extend across northern India, Nepal, Bhutan, and southern Tibet. This mountain belt forms a long arc along the northern edge of the Indian subcontinent and continues for thousands of kilometers across South Asia. Several adjacent mountain systems appear near this region, creating a broad zone of elevated terrain. North of the Himalayas lies the Karakoram, which spans parts of Pakistan, India, and China. Nearby ranges include the Hindu Kush, extending across Afghanistan and Pakistan. These mountain systems occupy large areas of Central and Southwestern Asia. Additional mountain belts extend across interior Asia. The Tian Shan stretches across Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and western China. Farther north, the Altai Mountains extend across Russia, Mongolia, China, and Kazakhstan. These ranges form prominent mountain systems across the interior of the continent. In Eastern Asia, mountain ranges appear across parts of China and the Korean peninsula. Several ranges extend across southern China and adjacent regions, forming additional elevated zones within Eastern Asia. Across the Asian continent, mountain ranges occur in large regional clusters across central highlands, southern continental margins, and interior plateau regions. These mountain systems form extensive belts that extend across many national boundaries. Mountain ranges in Africa appear in several regional groupings, distributed across the northern, eastern, and southern parts of the continent. Large mountain systems occur mainly along continental margins and interior highland regions. These ranges occupy smaller total areas compared with the extensive mountain belts of some other continents. In the northwestern part of Africa, the Atlas Mountains extend across Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia. This mountain system forms a broad belt near the Mediterranean coast and the northern edge of the Sahara. Several connected ranges make up the Atlas region across multiple countries. In eastern Africa, mountain ranges appear along a long zone extending from Ethiopia southward toward Tanzania and Malawi. The Ethiopian highlands occupy a large elevated area in Ethiopia and Eritrea. Farther south, additional mountain ranges occur along parts of Kenya and Tanzania, forming prominent highland regions across eastern Africa. Another major mountain grouping occurs in southern Africa. The Drakensberg Mountains extend along the eastern boundary of South Africa and Lesotho. This mountain system forms a long escarpment across the southeastern portion of the continent. Additional elevated regions appear in Central and Western Africa, including the Cameroon Highlands, along the border of Nigeria and Cameroon. Mountain ranges also occur in the western part of the continent, though they generally cover smaller areas compared with the major systems in northern and eastern Africa. Across Africa, mountain ranges appear as several separated regional groupings, rather than a single continuous continental belt. These systems occupy northern coastal zones, eastern highland regions, and southern escarpment areas across the continent. Mountain ranges in Australia are concentrated mainly along the eastern portion of the continent. The largest and most continuous mountain system is the Great Dividing Range. This extensive chain extends along the eastern side of Australia, from the northern region of Queensland, through New South Wales, and into the state of Victoria. The Great Dividing Range forms a broad system that includes many individual mountain groups distributed across eastern Australia. Several well-known ranges appear as parts of this system, including the Blue Mountains west of Sydney and the Australian Alps, located along the border region of New South Wales and Victoria. These ranges form elevated areas across the southeastern part of the continent. Additional mountain groups appear in northern sections of the Great Dividing Range in Queensland. Ranges such as the McPherson Range and the New England Range occupy parts of eastern Australia between coastal plains and inland regions. Smaller mountain systems are also present in other parts of the continent. In central Australia, the McDonnell Ranges extend across the Northern Territory, near Alice Springs. In the northwest of Western Australia, the Hamersley Range forms another regional mountain grouping. Across Australia, mountain ranges appear primarily along the eastern continental margin, with additional smaller systems located in central and western regions. These mountain groupings occupy limited portions of the continent, compared with the large interior plains that dominate much of the Australian landmass. Western continental margins in several parts of the world contain long mountain belts that extend for large distances in a roughly north-south orientation. These belts form prominent topographic corridors positioned along the outer edges of continental landmasses. The alignment of these systems creates extended zones of mountainous terrain that follow the length of continental boundaries facing major ocean basins. One of the most extensive examples appears along the western side of the Americas. The Andes Mountains extend along the Pacific margin of South America, from Colombia to the southern tip of Chile and Argentina. This range forms a nearly continuous mountain belt spanning most of the continent's western edge. A related belt appears farther north across western North America. Mountain systems such as the Rocky Mountains, the Sierra Nevada, and the Cascade Range form major segments of a broad western mountain region extending from Alaska through Canada and the United States into northern Mexico. These ranges occupy large portions of the continent's western side. Additional western continental mountain belts occur in parts of eastern Asia and island arcs near the Pacific. Mountain systems extend through regions of eastern Russia, Japan, and the western Pacific margins, where multiple ranges appear along coastal and near-coastal zones. Across several continents, western margins contain long mountain alignments positioned parallel to nearby ocean basins. These belts extend across large latitudinal distances and include numerous connected or neighboring ranges distributed along continental edges. The repeated appearance of these western mountain corridors forms one of the major spatial patterns in the global distribution of mountain systems. Eastern continental margins also contain mountain systems arranged in elongated belts that extend across large sections of continental landmasses. These belts appear along the eastern sides of several continents and often follow long geographic corridors parallel to nearby coastal regions or interior continental edges. In North America, the Appalachian Mountains form one of the most prominent eastern continental mountain belts. This system extends from the Canadian province of Newfoundland and Labrador through the eastern United States and into northern Alabama. The range occupies a long zone along the eastern portion of the continent and passes through numerous states and provinces. In eastern Australia, another longitudinal belt appears along the continent's eastern margin. The Great Dividing Range extends from northern Queensland through New South Wales and into the southeastern regions of Victoria. This mountain system forms a continuous alignment across much of eastern Australia. Additional eastern mountain belts appear in parts of eastern Asia. Several ranges extend along the eastern margins of the Asian continent, including mountain systems distributed across eastern China, the Korean Peninsula, and the Japanese archipelago. These ranges form elongated highland corridors that occupy coastal and near-coastal zones. Across multiple continents, eastern mountain belts display long alignments that extend for hundreds or thousands of kilometers along continental edges. These systems create major geographic divisions between coastal plains and interior regions. The repeated appearance of these longitudinal mountain corridors on eastern continental margins forms another large-scale pattern in the global arrangement of mountain ranges. Interior continental regions also contain mountain belts arranged along long geographic corridors that extend across large sections of land masses. These belts appear away from continental margins and occupy central or interior zones of continents. Their distribution forms broad highland systems positioned between surrounding plains, basins, and plateaus. In Central Asia, several interior mountain systems extend across large continental areas. The Tian Shan forms a major mountain belt that stretches across Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and western China. This range extends for long distances across the interior of the Asian continent and forms one of the principal highland corridors in the region. Nearby mountain systems contribute to a broad interior belt across Central Asia. The Altai Mountains extend across the borders of Russia, Mongolia, China, and Kazakhstan. Farther south, additional mountain ranges, such as the Pamir Mountains, appear at the intersection of several regional mountain systems. Interior mountain belts also occur in parts of North America. The Rocky Mountains extend across western interior regions of Canada and the United States, forming a long corridor of mountainous terrain located inland from the Pacific coastline. In parts of Eurasia, interior mountain systems appear across regions that lie between major continental edges. These ranges form extensive highland belts that occupy large portions of the interior landmass. Across several continents, interior mountain belts form long alignments distributed across central continental zones. It is far more black. It is far more over black. It is far more black and deep and summer, and it is far more over black. These systems extend across multiple countries and connect large interior regions through continuous or closely spaced mountain ranges. Several large mountain belts extend across very long geographic distances and appear to continue across continental regions through connected or neighboring ranges. These systems form broad alignments that link multiple mountain regions across different parts of the world. Their distribution creates extended corridors of elevated terrain that span thousands of kilometers. One of the most prominent examples appears across Western North and South America. Mountain ranges, including the Rocky Mountains in North America, connect southward through mountain systems in Mexico and Central America, and continue into the Andes Mountains. Together, these ranges form a nearly continuous chain of mountain belts along the western side of the Americas. Another extensive belt appears across southern Eurasia. Large mountain systems, including the Himalayas, the Karakoram, and the Hindu Kush, form connected segments of a broad mountain corridor extending across parts of South and Central Asia. These ranges occupy large regions across several countries and form one of the most extensive highland systems on the Eurasian continent. Additional intercontinental alignments appear across interior Eurasia, where mountain ranges extend across Russia, Mongolia, Kazakhstan, and western China. Systems such as the Altai Mountains and nearby ranges form extended highland corridors across the central part of the Eurasian landmass. Across different continents, several mountain belts extend across very large distances through a series of connected ranges. These long geographic alignments create major mountain corridors that span multiple regions of the world and link several continental-scale mountain systems. In several regions of the world, mountain systems appear as groups of ranges arranged in roughly parallel alignments. These groupings form broad mountain corridors where multiple ranges extend in similar directional patterns across large geographic areas. The parallel arrangement of these ranges produces repeated bands of elevated terrain separated by valleys, basins, or plateaus. A prominent example appears in Western North America. Mountain systems, including the Rocky Mountains, the Sierra Nevada, and the Cascade Range, form several long mountain belts that run generally north to south across the western portion of the continent. These ranges occupy adjacent zones and maintain similar directional alignments across large distances. Parallel mountain groupings also appear across parts of Central and South Asia. Ranges such as the Himalayas, the Karakoram, and the Hindu Kush extend across neighboring regions and form multiple mountain belts with broadly comparable orientations. These systems occupy extensive areas across several countries. In Southern Europe and Western Asia, additional examples of parallel mountain groupings occur across regions surrounding the Mediterranean and adjacent continental interiors. Several mountain ranges appear in neighboring belts that extend across similar directions across large geographic areas. Parallel mountain belt groupings create wide mountainous regions composed of multiple adjacent ranges. These arrangements produce repeated patterns of elongated highland corridors distributed across large sections of continents. Across the global distribution of mountain systems, such parallel alignments represent a common spatial pattern in continental mountain landscapes. Large mountain belts sometimes appear as separated segments rather than fully continuous ranges. These segments follow similar geographic orientations and occur along the same general corridors, but they are divided by plains, plateaus, basins, or coastal gaps. The resulting pattern forms a series of discontinuous mountain sections that maintain a shared directional alignment across broad regions. Examples appear along the western side of the American continents. Mountain systems, including the Rocky Mountains in North America and the Andes Mountains in South America, occupy long continental margins. Between these major ranges, additional mountain systems appear across Mexico and Central America. forming separated segments that align along the same general north-south corridor. Discontinuous belt segments also occur across parts of Eurasia. Ranges such as the Altai Mountains, the Tian Shan, and the Pamir Mountains appear as individual mountain systems positioned along neighboring regions of Central Asia. These ranges maintain similar orientations across large distances, even though they are separated by basins and plateaus. Additional examples appear in regions surrounding the Mediterranean and adjacent parts of Western Asia. Several mountain ranges occur in separated segments that extend across southern Europe and nearby continental interiors. Discontinuous mountain belt segments create extended corridors of mountainous terrain, composed of multiple separate ranges. These segments maintain consistent geographic directions and appear along shared continental pathways. Across global mountain systems, the presence of separated but aligned ranges forms another large-scale pattern in the spatial arrangement of mountain delts. Across the Eurasian landmass, mountain ranges form a large interconnected network extending across southern and central regions of the continent. These systems appear as multiple adjoining or neighboring ranges distributed from the Mediterranean region through Central Asia and into eastern parts of the continent. The resulting arrangement forms one of the most extensive mountain networks on Earth. In southern Europe, several mountain systems form the western portion of this network. The Alps extend across Central Europe, while nearby ranges, such as the Carpathian Mountains, occupy large areas of Eastern Europe. These systems connect geographically with additional ranges that extend towards southeastern Europe and Western Asia. Farther east, a sequence of large mountain systems continues across Western and Central Asia. Ranges including the Caucasus Mountains, the Zagros Mountains, and the Elburz Mountains form mountain corridors that extend across regions between the Black Sea, the Caspian Sea, and the Iranian Plateau. Central and Southern Asia contain some of the largest mountain systems within the Eurasian network. Major ranges such as the Himalayas, the Karakoram, and the Tian Shan form extensive mountain corridors across large areas of the continent. Across Eurasia, these ranges appear as a broad network of mountain systems, extending across many countries and regions. The distribution of these connected or closely spaced ranges forms a continuous highland corridor spanning much of southern and central Eurasia. The American continents contain an extensive network of mountain ranges that extend along the western side of North and South America. These ranges form a continuous corridor of mountainous terrain that spans much of the length of the Western Hemisphere. The arrangement of these systems creates one of the longest linked mountain networks on Earth. In North America, major mountain systems extend from Alaska through western Canada and the western United States. Prominent ranges include the Alaska Range, the Coast Mountains, the Cascade Range, the Sierra Nevada, and the Rocky Mountains. These ranges occupy large areas along the western side of the continent and form multiple connected mountain corridors. Southward from North America, mountain systems continue through Mexico and Central America, where several ranges extend along similar north-south alignments. These mountain corridors connect geographically with the large mountain system of South America. In South America, the Andes Mountains extend along the Pacific margin, from northern Colombia through Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Chile, and Argentina. This range forms the longest continuous mountain system in the Americas and occupies nearly the entire western side of the continent. Across the American continents, these ranges create a long interconnected mountain network, commonly referred to as the American Cordillera. The network includes numerous adjacent or overlapping mountain systems, distributed along the western continental margins from the Arctic regions to the southern tip of South America. Transcontinental mountain corridors appear where multiple mountain systems align across very large sections of continental landmasses. These corridors extend through sequences of adjoining ranges that occupy long geographic pathways across continents. The arrangement creates extended belts of elevated terrain that span several regions and national boundaries. One example appears across southern Eurasia. Mountain ranges including the Zagros Mountains, the Hindu Kush, the Karakoram, and the Himalayas form successive segments across western, central, and southern Asia. These ranges extend across multiple countries and maintain a broadly continuous alignment across the continent. Additional transcontinental corridors appear across interior Asia. Mountain systems such as the Tian Shan and the Altai Mountains occupy large areas across Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Mongolia, Russia, and western China. These ranges extend across wide interior regions and connect several continental zones. Transcontinental corridors also appear across North America, where several mountain systems extend through large portions of the continent. Ranges such as the Rocky Mountains form long corridors of mountainous terrain across Canada and the United States. Across different continents, transcontinental mountain corridors appear as extended chains of ranges distributed along large geographic pathways. These corridors link multiple mountain systems across continental distances and form major structural patterns in the global arrangement of mountain ranges. In several regions, these corridors continue through neighboring mountain systems that occupy adjacent geographic zones. Additional ranges appear along similar orientations across Central Asia and Southeastern Europe, contributing to the broader continental alignment of mountain corridors. These extended alignments connect multiple regional mountain groupings across wide continental areas. Interbasin mountain connectors appear where mountain systems form geographic links between major continental basins or interior regions. These connectors consist of ranges that occupy transitional zones between large drainage basins, plateaus, or continental depressions. Their distribution forms pathways of elevated terrain that extend between neighboring geographic regions across broad areas. In Central Asia, several mountain systems form connectors between large interior basins. Ranges such as the Tian Shan extend across regions separating the Tarim Basin from the Kazakh and Central Asian plains. Nearby systems, including the Altai Mountains, connect regions of Mongolia, Russia, Kazakhstan, and China. These mountain ranges occupy broad transitional zones between surrounding basins and interior continental regions. Additional connectors appear across southwestern and southern Asia. The Hindu Kush and the Karakoram occupy regions between several interior basins and highland plateaus across Afghanistan, Pakistan, and western China. These ranges form elevated corridors that connect neighboring mountain systems across Central and Southern Asia. In North America, interior mountain ranges create similar geographic connections between large continental basins. The Rocky Mountains extend across regions positioned between the Great Plains and intermontane basins of the western United States and Canada. Several adjoining ranges occupy transitional zones, linking multiple interior basins across western North America. Across several continents, mountain connectors appear where adjacent basins and plateau regions meet. These mountain corridors link neighboring geographic regions through extended belts of elevated terrain. The presence of such connectors contributes to the broader network of mountain systems distributed across large continental landscapes. Many of these connectors appear as sequences of adjoining ranges rather than single continuous systems. Several neighboring mountain ranges may align across the same geographic corridor, producing extended belts that span multiple basin regions. These patterns appear in parts of Central Asia, Western North America, and other continental interiors, where mountain systems link large interior basins. Continental edge mountain networks appear where multiple mountain systems align along the outer margins of large landmasses. These networks form extended belts of elevated terrain, positioned near continental boundaries that face major ocean basins. Their distribution creates large-scale corridors of mountain ranges that extend for long distances along continental edges. One of the most prominent examples occurs along the western side of the American continents. A series of mountain systems, including the Alaska Range, the Cascade Range, the Sierra Nevada, and the Rocky Mountains, form a large network of ranges extending through western North America. These ranges connect with additional mountain systems across Mexico and Central America. Farther south, the Andes Mountains extend along the Pacific-facing margin of South America. This mountain system forms a continuous corridor from northern Colombia to the southern regions of Chile and Argentina. Together with northern mountain ranges, the Andes form part of an extended network of mountain systems along the western continental edge. Similar continental edge networks appear in parts of Eastern Asia and the Western Pacific region. Mountain systems extend along coastal zones of eastern Russia, the Japanese archipelago, and nearby island regions. These ranges occupy continental margins that border the Pacific Ocean and form additional corridors of mountainous terrain. Across several continents, continental edge mountain networks consist of multiple adjoining ranges distributed along ocean-facing boundaries. These networks connect numerous mountain systems across long continental margins. In many regions, these networks include both continuous ranges and separated mountain segments positioned along the same continental edges. Additional ranges appear across neighboring coastal zones and adjacent peninsulas, contributing to extended chains of mountain systems distributed along continental boundaries. Multi-region mountain alignments appear where mountain ranges across different geographic regions follow similar directional orientations and form extended patterns across continents. These alignments consist of ranges that occupy separate locations but maintain comparable geographic trends across large distances. The resulting arrangement creates broad patterns of mountain corridors distributed across multiple continental regions. Across southern Eurasia, several mountain systems align across wide areas extending from southeastern Europe through western and central Asia. Ranges including the Carpathian Mountains, the Caucasus Mountains, the Zagros Mountains, and the Himalayas occupy regions that follow broadly similar geographic orientations across much of the southern Eurasian landmass. These ranges extend across numerous countries and link several regional mountain zones. Additional alignments appear across Central Asia, where large mountain systems extend across Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Mongolia, and western China. Ranges such as the Tian Shan and the Altai Mountains form extended mountain corridors across interior Eurasia. These systems occupy adjacent regions and maintain similar geographic directions across large distances. Comparable patterns appear in the American continents. Mountain systems including the Rocky Mountains and the Andes Mountains extend along the western sides of North and South America. These ranges occupy distant parts of the Western Hemisphere, yet maintain similar north-south alignments along continental margins. Across different continents, multi-region mountain alignments form recurring spatial patterns where separate mountain systems share comparable orientations. These alignments extend across large geographic areas and connect numerous regional mountain systems through consistent directional arrangements. In several regions, these alignments appear as sequences of neighboring ranges distributed across adjoining territories. Additional mountain systems occur along similar geographic directions across southern Europe, Western Asia, and Central Asia, contributing to broader continental patterns of mountain alignment. Regional mountain clusters appear where multiple mountain ranges occupy a concentrated geographic area and form a connected complex of highland systems. One of the most prominent examples occurs in Central Europe, where several adjoining ranges form the Alpine Regional Cluster. This cluster consists of mountain systems distributed across a relatively compact region that spans several national territories. It sounds at the center of this regional complex are the Alps, which extend across France, Switzerland, Italy, Germany, Austria, and Slovenia. The Alps form the largest mountain system in this region and occupy a broad arc across Central Europe. Numerous surrounding ranges contribute to the wider Alpine cluster. To the west of the Alps, the Pyrenees extend between Spain and France. This mountain system forms a major range that borders the Iberian Peninsula and connects geographically with mountain regions of southwestern Europe. The Pyrenees represent one of the western components of the broader Alpine regional grouping. To the east and southeast, several additional mountain systems appear across Central and Southeastern Europe. The Carpathian Mountains form a large arc extending through Slovakia, Poland, Ukraine, and Romania. Farther south, the Dinaric Alps extend along the eastern Adriatic region through several Balkan countries. Additional mountain systems surrounding the Alpine region include the Apennine Mountains along the Italian peninsula. These ranges contribute to the overall network of mountains that occupy Central and Southern Europe. Together, these mountain systems create a regional cluster of closely spaced ranges distributed across several parts of Europe. The arrangement of these ranges forms a concentrated mountain complex extending across central, southern, and southeastern sections of the continent. Central Asia contains one of the largest regional clusters of mountain systems on the Eurasian continent. Numerous mountain ranges occupy adjoining territories across Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Afghanistan, Mongolia, and western China. The distribution of these ranges forms a concentrated complex of highland systems that extend across several interior regions of Asia. Mammals are business and manage. The capital encounter of several families, the kind of hopes they can command, and manage the kind of life. It's true that the few cities dragon will be right. A major component of this cluster is the Tian Shan, which extends across Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and western China. This range occupies a large portion of Central Asia and forms one of the dominant mountain systems of the region. Several adjoining mountain ranges appear nearby, contributing to the broader regional grouping. South of the Tian Shan lies the Pamir Mountains. These mountains occupy territories across Tajikistan, Afghanistan, and western China. The Pamir region forms a major highland area where multiple mountain systems converge within a relatively compact geographic zone. Additional ranges extend across neighboring regions of Central Asia. The Altai Mountains occupy areas of Mongolia, Russia, Kazakhstan, and China. These mountains appear to the northeast of the Central Asian cluster and contribute to the broader distribution of highland systems across interior Eurasia. To the south and southwest, mountain systems including the Hindu Kush extend across Afghanistan and northern Pakistan. And these ranges connect geographically with nearby mountain regions and contribute to the overall cluster of mountain systems across Central and Southern Asia. Across Central Asia, these mountain ranges form a dense regional complex composed of several adjoining highland systems. The arrangement of these ranges creates a large mountain cluster distributed across multiple countries and interior continental regions. Western regions of North America contain a large cluster of mountain systems distributed across Alaska, Canada, the United States, and northern Mexico. These ranges occupy a broad corridor along the western side of the continent and form one of the most extensive regional mountain complexes in the world. Numerous adjoining and neighboring ranges create a dense concentration of mountainous terrain across this region. In the northern part of this cluster, the Alaska Range extends across southern Alaska. Nearby mountain systems include the Coast Mountains, which occupy coastal regions of British Columbia and southeastern Alaska. These ranges form major components of the western North American mountain complex. Farther south, the Cascade Range extends through Washington and Oregon into northern California. This range forms a continuous, mountainous corridor along the Pacific side of the northwestern United States. South of the Cascades, the Sierra Nevada extends along eastern California and western Nevada. Inland from these coastal ranges, the Rocky Mountains extend from northern Canada through the United States and into northern New Mexico. This range forms one of the largest mountain systems in North America and occupies a broad interior portion of the Western Mountain Cluster. Additional mountain ranges appear across the western United States and northern Mexico, forming numerous neighboring systems that occupy the same regional corridor. These ranges include several smaller mountain groups distributed across intermontane basins and plateau regions. Together, these mountain systems form a large regional cluster of ranges across western North America. The close geographic spacing of these ranges creates a complex arrangement of mountain systems distributed across a wide section of the continent. Southern Europe contains a dense concentration of mountain systems, distributed around the Mediterranean basin and across several adjoining peninsulas. Numerous mountain ranges occupy relatively close geographic proximity across the Iberian Peninsula, the Italian Peninsula, the Balkan Peninsula, and nearby continental regions. The distribution of these ranges forms a regional cluster of mountain systems extending across southern and southeastern Europe. In the western part of this cluster, the Pyrenees extend along the border between Spain and France. This range forms a major mountain system separating the Iberian Peninsula from the rest of Europe. Nearby mountain regions across northern and central Spain include several additional ranges that contribute to the broader mountainous landscape of the Iberian region. East of the Pyrenees, the Alps extend across France, Switzerland, Italy, Austria, Germany, and Slovenia. The Alps form one of the largest mountain systems in Europe and represent a central component of the southern European mountain cluster. Several adjoining ranges appear in neighboring regions surrounding the Alpine Arc. Across the Italian peninsula, the Apennine Mountains extend from northern Italy to the southern end of the peninsula. These mountains form a continuous range along the length of Italy and contribute to the broader network of mountain systems across southern Europe. Farther east, the Dinaric Alps extend along the eastern coast of the Adriatic Sea across several Balkan countries. Additional mountain ranges across southeastern Europe include the Balkan Mountains and the Pindus Mountains. Together, these ranges form a complex regional cluster of mountain systems across southern Europe. The close spacing of these mountain ranges creates an extensive mountainous region distributed across multiple Mediterranean peninsulas and adjacent continental territories. East Africa contains a broad cluster of highland regions and mountain ranges distributed across Ethiopia, Eritrea, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and neighboring countries. These mountain systems occupy a large area of eastern Africa and form a regional complex of elevated terrain extending from the Horn of Africa towards southeastern portions of the continent. Numerous adjoining ranges and highland plateaus contribute to the structure of this regional cluster. One of the most prominent highland regions in this cluster is the Ethiopian highlands. This extensive mountainous area occupies much of Ethiopia and extends into parts of Eritrea. The Ethiopian highlands contain numerous mountain ridges and elevated plateaus distributed across a wide section of northeastern Africa. South of the Ethiopian highlands, Additional mountain systems appear across Kenya and northern Tanzania. These regions include several highland areas surrounding major volcanic peaks and elevated plateaus. Mountain ranges and highland blocks in Kenya and Tanzania form part of the broader East African cluster of mountain systems. Farther south, highland regions extend across parts of Tanzania and Malawi, where several mountain ranges occupy adjoining territories. These ranges contribute to the continuous distribution of elevated terrain across eastern Africa. Additional mountain groupings appear along the western and southern portions of the East African region. The Rwenzori Mountains extend along the border between Uganda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Farther south, the Eastern Arc Mountains occupy parts of Tanzania and form another important group of ranges within the regional highland system. Together, these mountain systems form a broad regional cluster of ranges and highlands across eastern Africa. The close proximity of these ranges creates a complex mountainous landscape, distributed across multiple adjoining countries and regional environments. Eastern Australia contains a regional cluster of mountain ranges, distributed along the eastern margin of the continent. These ranges form a complex grouping of highland systems, extending across Queensland, New South Wales, and Victoria. Numerous adjoining ranges occupy this corridor and create a continuous zone of mountainous terrain along the eastern side of Australia. The largest mountain system in this cluster is the Great Dividing Range. This extensive range extends for thousands of kilometers along eastern Australia, from northern Queensland through New South Wales into Victoria. The Great Dividing Range forms the central structure of the Eastern Australian mountain cluster. Within this broad mountain system, several individual ranges appear across different sections of the eastern states. In New South Wales, the Blue Mountains occupy a prominent section west of Sydney. These mountains form part of the wider network of ranges connected to the Great Dividing Range. Farther south, the Australian Alps extend across southeastern New South Wales and northeastern Victoria. This region contains some of the highest elevations on the Australian continent and forms an important component of the Eastern Mountain Cluster. In Queensland, several additional ranges form northern segments of the Eastern Australian mountain system. These include ranges such as the McPherson Range and the New England Range. These mountain systems occupy territories between coastal plains and interior regions of eastern Australia. Across eastern Australia, these mountain ranges form a regional cluster composed of several adjoining and neighboring systems. The arrangement of these ranges creates a continuous highland corridor extending across multiple states along the eastern edge of the continent. Global mountain range registry systems provide structured reference frameworks for cataloging mountain ranges across continents and regions. These systems organize mountain ranges into standardized lists and databases that record names, geographic extents, and spatial positions. The purpose of these registries is to support mapping, geographic classification, and reference documentation of mountain systems worldwide. One widely used reference system is the United Nations Group of Experts on Geographic Names Registry of Standardized Geographic Names. This system maintains official naming records for mountain ranges and other geographic features. The registry provides standardized spelling and geographic attribution for mountain systems appearing on international maps and atlases. Global geographic databases also include mountain range listings maintained by scientific and mapping organizations. The United States Geological Survey maintains several geographic information databases that include mountain range names and spatial coordinates. These datasets contribute to global mapping references used in scientific research and cartographic publications. Additional registry systems appear in global geographic name databases, such as the GeoNet Names Server. This database provides geographic name records for mountains, ranges, and other landforms across numerous countries. Each entry includes standardized geographic identifiers and coordinate references. International mapping frameworks also compile mountain range listings through collaborative geographic data projects. Organizations such as the International Cartographic Association contribute to the development of global geographic reference systems used in digital mapping and geographic information systems. Across these frameworks, mountain range registries function as structured reference tools for cataloging and identifying mountain systems around the world. These systems organize mountain names, geographic coordinates, and spatial extents into standardized databases that support global cartographic reference and geographic documentation. Continental mountain boundary references provide spatial frameworks used to identify the geographic limits of major mountain systems within continental regions. These reference systems organize mountain ranges according to their geographic positions relative to continental margins, interior basins, and adjacent highland regions. The resulting frameworks allow cartographic and geographic datasets to define consistent boundary zones for large mountain systems. Across Eurasia, several boundary reference frameworks identify the geographic extent of major mountain regions, including the Himalayas, the Karakoram, and the Tian Shan. These mountain systems appear within mapped boundary regions that define the limits of Central and Southern Asian mountain corridors. Geographic atlases frequently use such frameworks to distinguish between adjoining highland zones and surrounding plains or plateaus. In Europe, continental boundary references identify the spatial limits of mountain systems, such as the Alps and the Carpathian Mountains. These frameworks outline the geographic boundaries of major mountain arcs across Central and Eastern Europe. Boundary references often follow recognizable geographic features, including valleys, river corridors, and adjoining plateau regions. In the Americas, similar reference systems define the geographic extent of large mountain corridors, such as the Rocky Mountains and the Andes Mountains. These frameworks identify where large mountain belts transition into interior plains or coastal regions. Across continental mapping systems, mountain boundary references function as spatial categories used to organize the geographic extent of mountain systems. These frameworks allow global mapping databases and geographic reference systems to maintain consistent spatial definitions for major mountain regions across different continents. Global elevation-based range categories provide spatial reference systems used to group mountain ranges according to their general elevation levels. These categories appear in geographic datasets, atlases, and mapping frameworks that classify mountain systems by approximate height ranges. The resulting categories support consistent comparison of mountain regions across continents. Many global reference frameworks identify high mountain systems as ranges where large sections of terrain exceed several thousand meters above sea level. Mountain systems, such as the Himalayas and the Karakoram, appear within the highest global elevation categories. These ranges contain extensive areas of terrain above 5,000 meters and include numerous peaks exceeding 7,000 meters. Other mountain systems occupy intermediate elevation categories that include large areas between approximately 2,000 and 5,000 meters. Ranges such as the Andes Mountains and the Rocky Mountains extend across long continental corridors and contain broad sections of terrain within these intermediate elevation ranges. Many of the world's major mountain systems fall within this elevation category. Lower elevation mountain categories include ranges where large portions of terrain occur between roughly 500 and 2,000 meters above, which means that air can be doctored by a secret land called intelligence, and then in the air can be found by simple alphilians. Mountain systems such as the Appalachian Mountains and parts of the Ural Mountains are frequently included in this group. These ranges occupy extensive geographic areas, but contain fewer regions at extreme elevations. Global elevation-based categories allow mapping systems to organize mountain ranges according to comparable vertical ranges. These categories appear in geographic reference frameworks that describe the relative height ranges of mountain systems across continents. Inter-range separation zones refer to geographic regions that lie between neighboring mountain systems and serve as spatial boundaries within large mountain networks. These zones appear in global mapping frameworks that identify the transitional regions separating adjacent mountain ranges. Such reference categories are commonly used in geographic databases and atlases to distinguish individual mountain systems within broader mountainous regions. In Western North America, several separation zones occur between major mountain ranges. For example, the region known as the Great Basin lies between the Sierra Nevada and the Rocky Mountains. This large interior basin forms a geographic interval separating two major mountain corridors across the western United States. Similar separation zones appear across Central Asia, where several mountain systems occupy adjacent regions. Basins, such as the Tarim Basin, occur between surrounding ranges, including the Tian Shan and the Kunlun Mountains. These interior basins function as geographic reference zones between neighboring mountain systems. Across southern Europe, separation zones also appear between mountain arcs distributed across the Mediterranean region. Lowland corridors and interior plains occur between ranges, such as the Alps and the Carpathian Mountains. These zones form spatial boundaries that distinguish neighboring mountain systems within continental mapping frameworks. Across global geographic reference systems, interrange separation zones serve as spatial categories used to organize mountain landscapes into distinct regional units. These zones identify the geographic intervals that occur between major mountain ranges and allow mapping frameworks to define clearer boundaries between adjoining mountain systems. Global mountain corridor references are spatial frameworks used to identify long geographic pathways where multiple mountain ranges align across continents. These references appear in cartographic and geographic datasets that describe extended belts of mountain systems distributed along major continental directions. The concept of mountain corridors allows mapping systems to represent large-scale arrangements of mountain ranges as continuous or near-continuous geographic pathways. One of the most widely recognized global mountain corridors extends along the western side of the American continents. This corridor includes mountain systems such as the Rocky Mountains in North America and the Andes Mountains in South America. Together, these ranges form a long north-south mountain corridor, extending from northern Canada through the western United States and Mexico into South America. Another major mountain corridor appears across southern Eurasia. This corridor includes ranges such as the Himalayas, the Karakoram, and the Hindu Kush. These mountain systems occupy a long geographic pathway extending across parts of South and Central Asia. Interior Eurasia also contains extended mountain corridors that link several regional ranges. Mountain systems, such as the Tian Shan and the Altai Mountains, form corridors across Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Mongolia, and western China. These ranges occupy interior continental regions and contribute to the broader pattern of mountain corridors across Eurasia. Global mountain corridor references allow mapping frameworks to represent these extended pathways of mountain systems. Such reference categories identify the long geographic alignments formed by multiple mountain ranges across different regions of the world. Multi-range continental reference sectors are spatial categories used in geographic frameworks to organize regions where several mountain systems appear within the same continental area. These sectors identify large portions of continents where multiple ranges occur in relatively close proximity and form recognizable mountain regions on global maps. Geographic atlases and spatial datasets often use these sectors to group mountain systems within broad continental reference zones. One example appears across Western North America, where several major mountain systems occupy the same continental sector. Ranges such as the Rocky Mountains, the Cascade Range, and the Sierra Nevada occur within a shared Western continental region. These ranges form part of a larger mountainous sector, extending from Alaska through Canada and the western United States into northern Mexico. Another major reference sector occurs across southern Eurasia. Mountain systems including the Himalayas, the Karakoram, and the Hindu Kush occupy adjoining regions across South and Central Asia. These ranges appear within a broad continental zone that contains several of the largest mountain systems on Earth. Central Asia forms an additional multi-range reference sector, containing several neighboring mountain systems. Ranges such as the Tian Shan and the Altai Mountains extend across Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Mongolia, and Western China. These mountain systems occupy adjacent regions within the interior of the Eurasian continent. Across global mapping frameworks, continental reference sectors provide a method for grouping multiple mountain systems within the same geographic region. These sectors help organize large-scale spatial patterns of mountain distribution across different parts of the world. Seen at the scale of the entire planet, mountain ranges form sweeping arcs, clustered highlands, and long corridors that extend across continents. Many of these systems continue for thousands of kilometers, linking distant regions into broad geographic patterns. Together, they outline a global framework of elevated terrain that spans the continents and shapes the structure of the Earth's land surface.